Good morning, evening, or afternoon, depending on what side of the pond you're on, and welcome to another extra special edition of Across the Pitch. My name is Phil Kennedy, and I have top Accrington Stanley historian Darren Woodhead with me today for another one of our Accrington Stanley Legends interviews. Today we have a man who scored 38 times in 87 matches for Stanley. Welcome, Gary Williams.
Hi, thank you, Phil.
Thank you for
Gary.
coming on,
Thanks
Gary.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. It's been a long time in the planning, and nice to finally get you on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're really excited to talk some football for you today. And it was in 1999 that you came over to Accrington first, correct?
Kind of, yes. I did actually have a few games in the reserves before that, a couple of years earlier. But then I managed to find my way back a few years later.
Yeah, so just on that note, Gary, I know you're a Burnley lad. I've worked in Burnley for the past 30 years, and I know what a football mad town it is. So what are your early memories of football, playing in Burnley, in junior level, etc.? How did you get into football?
Yeah, so my memories in Burnley was, I remember at that age, roughly about 7 or 8. And when I started playing organised football, I had to play in teams who were older than me. So I was playing against lads who were 10 years old, and I was sort of 8 years old at the time. From there up until I was probably 14, I always played in the ages above my age, which actually I think in the long run helped me because I was playing against players who were 2 years above my age. So, yeah, that's sort of where I started.
Okay. Now, how did you first end up going to Ashton United then? Was that the first, major non-league club that you played for before you, teamed up with John and Jimmy?
No. So basically, from 10 years old, I was with Oldham Athletic and I was there for 5 years. So It was a good time to be at the club then. They were in the Premiership. So I felt I had a good education in football, some good coaches. One of my main coaches there was a guy called Billy Ermson, who was a fantastic coach. And I felt I got a lot from that in all the years that I was there. So that was my start really in sort of the professional game. After leaving there, I managed to join Morecambe, play for the youth team, managed to work my way into the reserves at 16. And I made my debut, or unofficial debut, at 16, and then my official debut at 17. Things were going well. From there, a year left my contract. I thought I was going to get my dream move to Burnley, which I thought was all tied up. But then at the last minute, that fell through. And that's when I ended up going to Ashton with John.
Right, so you were close to joining Burnley, were you? That's something I didn't know, so... How did that come about?
Yeah, not a lot of people know about this. So basically, when Stan Turnant was at Bury at the start of the season. I think we played Bury in the reserves the first day of the season. And then after that, we had a few chats. And he said, he advised me not to sign a new contract with Morecambe and said he would like to take me to Bury. But then that January, I think it was that January, he went to Burnley. And then, we had a few more chats and he said he was still going to take me with him and that I was going to sign for Burnley in the summer. So I turned down a new contract offer at Morecambe with obviously the thought of going to Burnley. And then during that summer, at the last minute, unfortunately, it didn't go through. So, as I said, that's when I ended up at Ashton.
That must have been really disappointing for yourself and your family, I would imagine. That was difficult to take.
It was very difficult to take, very upsetting that night when I found out. But basically the next day, I just did what I thought I could do, and that was just to get out. People in Burnley will know this, in the Townley Park, and just started training again on my own, just get out running, get myself fit. And that was the only way I could bounce back from it, sort of not sit around and sit in sort of self-pity, but just get out and try and make things happen.
Oh, that's interesting. So, and then you end up at Ashton, where was John Coleman and Jimmy Bell already at Ashton when you joined?
Yeah, so I think they've been there a year. I might be wrong on that, but I think they've been there a year. Originally, I met John, obviously, at Morecambe. I think it was his last year at the club. And we played a reserve game against Crewe. So that's how I sort of met John. When he found out that I wasn't signing a contract with Morecambe, he got in touch with me and asked if I was interested in joining Ashton. So we had a few conversations. And then, I ended up signing for Ashton with John and Jimmy.
Right, so that was the beginning of the partnership with those guys. And obviously when they moved over to Accrington, they took a lot of the first team squad from Ashton, didn't they? And you were obviously one of them.
They sort of had a nucleus there that they took with them. I think, obviously, there's a lot of managers that sort of do that. They have certain players that they like to take with them because I guess they know they can trust them, and maybe that was the case with John and those players.
Yeah, you hit the ground running at Stanley. I mean, there's one or two supporters' questions later on. I'm probably stealing the thunder a little bit, but it was, you certainly did hit the ground running before Christmas, didn't you? 24 goals in 34 games. Caught the eye. 4 goals in one game in a 10-1 win against Lincoln United. What are your memories of all around that time, Gary?
Yeah, as you say, I mean, the first game, I couldn't have asked for anything better. I think it was 8 seconds, if I'm right, against Burscough. I couldn't have sort of dreamt for a better start. And from there, I didn't think I could do anything wrong. I just thought, as soon as I get the ball, something's going to happen. And that's the way I went into every single game. And if I missed a chance, it didn't prey on my mind. I just thought, I'm going to get another chance and I'm going to score. So that was the way I was feeling at the time. I was just full of confidence. It was sort of a dream season, really.
Yeah, I mean, one of your teammates who we've had on the show, Jay Flannery, he was talking to me the other day and he recalled the goal against Burscough. He said, it was a spectacular goal. He just thought, wow, this kid's got something. He's gonna take us somewhere, and that's how it panned out really up to Christmas, didn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously, my memories some really good goals, but at the same time, there was some good team goals.
Yeah.
I know it's not a cliche. It's not just me. You've got to have players around you, and I think for me as well. I think probably because of the first game, as sort of Jay said, they could see something in me, so they had plenty of confidence in me. So they weren't frightened of putting the ball where I wanted it, and sort of letting me getting on with it 1-on-1. So there's some good team goals in there, and obviously I couldn't just do it on my own. There's all them players around with me as well.
Yeah, some good service in those days from the wings, didn't we? In Mark Shirley and Russell Payne, they were, for that level of football, they were exceptional players, weren't they?
Oh, fantastic! I mean, Russell Payne was just an absolute brilliant player. Fantastic. You didn't know which way he was going to go. And Mark Shirley, again, I knew Mark from my Morecambe days. Knew he was a good player. Low to gravity. A few jinks, get around players. So yeah, as I say, I couldn't do it on my own. I had all them fantastic players with me, and I think we had a really good team at that time.
So how did the move come about? Because you're obviously on fire, catching the eye. Doncaster came in. Were Doncaster the only team looking at you at that time, Gary? How did it work out?
To be honest, I couldn't really answer that question. Obviously, Eric Waller was the chairman at that time, and he came to me. I think it was after the Chorley game in January, I think it was, or something like that, and said Doncaster have made an offer. A few weeks before that, he did mention that Doncaster had been watching me, but he said you hear lots of rumours that this club's coming to watch you and so on, but the club never came to me and said this club was watching you, that club was watching you, with the exception of Doncaster. So as far as I know, Doncaster was the only club that actually made the offer. Yeah,
so you joined around Christmas, January at that time, reported as 60,000, which was a record fee for the club at that particular time. What are your memories of joining Doncaster and how it went and the changes in joining a club, a bigger club?
In a way, it was a bit of a shame because I would have liked to have seen the season out at Accrington. Do you know what I mean? I started well. I wanted to be part of the team till the end of the season. But it's something when that comes along, you can't really say no, especially with how long I've been waiting for to get that opportunity. it wasn't something that I could say no to. So I had to take that chance and go for it. When I met with Doncaster, obviously John came with me as well, and Jimmy did, to meet with the chairman. And obviously they had big plans, which you can see the new stadium that they have now. It's been there a few years. So you could tell they had big plans. But I think the team at that time weren't where the chairman wanted them in terms of getting to where he wanted the club to be.
Yeah. Who was the manager at Doncaster at that particular time, Gary?
So, the manager was Ian Snowden. And along with his brother, Glyn Snowden, was the assistant. Yeah, so and they had a few ex-Rovers players there, which is a bit hard to take, especially I had to travel in with one of them my first few days. So, probably could have done with social distancing then, really.
Yeah. So how did it go? Were you travelling? And you didn't move over there. You were travelling in every day. Were you from Burnley area over to Doncaster?
Yeah, so I was commuting every day. I was the first few days. There was a couple of players who lived in Liverpool who I met up with, but then there was 2 players that actually lived in Burnley. Ian Jordan, who used to play for Burnley, and Dino Maria. So he used to travel in. Yeah, he used to travel in every day with them. He used to obviously take turns in driving and sort of meet a few players in sort of Huddersfield way and travelling through there.
Yeah. So it didn't exactly work out as you planned, although, you got the experience of playing at that level. But were you disappointed to leave Doncaster, or were you quite relieved at the end?
Yeah, it was probably more relief. In hindsight, maybe I should have stuck it out and just gritted my teeth and got on with it. But it was very, very clear that I wasn't wanted at the club. In the summer, we got a new manager, and from the very first meeting with the players, it was obvious that I wasn't going to get in the team. I think the first training session that we had in pre-season, after we finished, I was told to then go and train with the youth team with no explanation. Some people might say then, you just get on with it. But without the manager speaking to you and explaining why I needed to do that, it was a little bit hard to take. And obviously from there, I just thought, I'm not going to get in the team. And that was proven at the start of the season. I was nowhere near getting the team and just getting games in the youth team, some sort of friendly games, basically. So I had to leave just to get some games.
Yeah.
Even though I had 2 years on my contract. So, it was a relief.
Yeah.
Whether it was the right decision, I'm not sure. But
it seems a regular theme of, players we speak to once it's, probably gone sour or changes of management. It's probably time to move on, isn't it? Everybody knows that it's the time's come, and it just seems to happen. And then obviously you came back to Accrington. Scored some more goals. Another, I think I've got it down as another 14 goals over the next couple of years. But one thing Phil wanted to ask you, during your second spell at Stanley, you managed to find your way across the pond, didn't you?
Yeah,
I did.
You played some time over here. Was it the Virginia Beach Mariners and the South Jersey Barons that I saw?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I played 2 years for South Jersey Barons, which was in is it D3 league that it was back then? So that was.
Yeah, they've changed it so many times. So would that have been the league that played like with the Rochester Rhinos and Richmond Kickers?
No, so that was South Jersey Barons were in the league below them.
Okay.
Then Virginia Beach Mariners were in the A League, which is the one behind the MLS, which is the clubs that you're talking about. So we played Richmond Kickers. Sorry, what was the other team that you mentioned?
Rochester Rhinos.
Rochester, yeah. Okay, sorry, Rochester.
So they're actually both in third. Those teams are both third division now because they've reorganized everything over here. So now there's that. It's actually kind of the same sort of system as England, even though there's no promotion and relegation, but there's actually what's called the USL Championship, USL League 1 and USL League 2. So Richmond and Rochester. Actually, Rochester is kind of on hold. They're not playing right now, but Richmond plays at what's the third division now. But they did drop down from the second a few years ago, now that you mentioned that.
Yeah. So, as I say, I've seen a few times they've changed it, as you said. But at the time, Virginia were in the A-League with them. From what I remember, sort of Rochester had a good following.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Rochester and Richmond are the last two non-MLS teams that won what's called the U.S. Open Cup over here. So they both are a bit famous based on that.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a good experience, especially playing in the A-League. I managed to get one game for New England Revolution, which, again, I was sort of offered a contract there, but because it was midway through the season, they'd already got their number of foreigners. And so the contract that was offered, it was kind of weird. So they said I could sign, but I couldn't actually play for them during that season because they had their foreigners already.
Yeah, there's so many odd rules with the MLS and, how many foreign players you can have and, local players. And it's very... Very, like you said, with the contract, everything about the MLS is a bit odd on a world scale.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. It sounds like it's getting better, but obviously the setup there is very different from the rest of Europe or the rest of the world. And obviously the way they do things is for their interest in terms of, I think the contracts are owned by the league, is that right? And things like that. But I guess that's for the good of the game over there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in terms of the business end of things, where the league owns a part of the teams, and then like the salary cap structure and the limit on foreign players and things like that, that those are all differences that are kind of there for the growth and protection of the investment of the owners and the growth of the league. But like you said, on the playing field side of things have kind of changed to be more of European style. Like I remember the clock counted in the opposite direction when that first started.
Yeah, see, I remember the first game that I played in the States, and it was a weird experience. So basically, you had your countdown. Obviously, you have your anthems at the start of every single game. But then we sort of, a few minutes into the game, I've got the ball, and then all of a sudden, this big advertisement comes over the tannoy, something like Papa John's Pizza and all this sort of thing. And I was like, it was really weird when you're playing and this advertisement comes on the tannoy. So yeah, it was a bit strange at the beginning, but it was a good experience and I enjoyed it. So.
Well, we have a question about takeouts later in what's called our rapid fire round, or actually maybe this would be a good time to do the rapid fire. Mushy peas or garden peas? Which one do you prefer?
Neither.
We've had that before.
Yeah. Neither. No, I'm neither one of them. I never had mushy peas. No.
Red sauce or brown sauce on your bacon buddy sandwich?
It's got to be brown sauce.
Brown sauce. That's what the popular answer there. The Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
Yeah, I don't mind the Beatles. I wasn't that much into them, but I guess the Beatles.
You gotta go with the northern answer in doubt. Do you prefer black pudding with your full English breakfast?
I prefer the black pudding kept in the bin. I'll just have my full English, please.
And do you prefer to watch Coronation Street or EastEnders?
I don't watch them. Well, I say I don't watch them, but my missus watches Coronation Street, so we never have EastEnders, so I'll have to say Coronation Street.
Come on, Gary.
I don't watch those either. My choice would be either Sunderland Till I Die or The Last Dance. Which one of those would you rather watch?
I can honestly say I've never heard of them.
Oh, really? They're both popular on Netflix. Sunderland Till I Die, it kind of has chronicled the last two seasons of Sunderland from both the fans' perspective and then inside the locker room. The Last Dance was a documentary about Michael Jordan and the final 1998
I saw it.
season.
Yeah, I've just sort of seen that last. Well, I've not watched it, but I just seen the advertisement for it. Yeah, that'd be something. Michael Jordan one, definitely something to look out for.
Yeah, those are both good shows. I definitely check both of those out. And then you mentioned Papa John's earlier, and this is our North American question because I'm actually from Phoenix, Arizona. We put hot jalapeno peppers on our pizza. So if you ordered your Papa John's, would you want hot jalapeno peppers on it, or with or without?
I'd go for with. Yeah, definitely.
All right, that's what we like to hear.
I don't understand people that have pineapple on their pizza, so I'm going to go with jalapenos.
Hey, that's what we like to hear. And Darren had a question about favorite takeout. So when you were over here, was that your favorite takeout, Papa John's? John Coleman said Subway. Did you have a favorite takeout when you were over here?
No, not really. The few places we used to go to, obviously in the States, they just love the you get all you can eat. Sort of, you just get a meal and you can get some more. So they used to go to Olive Garden.
Okay.
Yeah. You just salad after salad and all that sort of stuff.
You haven't tried this competitive eating, have you, Gary? Me and Phil have had some.
This is what I'm going to go on. There were a few times after training we'd go to a local bar and it's all you can eat chicken wings and stuff like that. So I think it was on a Tuesday or Wednesday night. So yeah, we used to do that as well.
But not 75 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
No, definitely. I think John might have done that, but not me.
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, was that all the rapid fire, Darren, or did I miss any?
Yeah, no.
We got the Canadian question. Do you want to ask Tony's question?
Yeah, I can't see Gary being a goer for this, but we have our friend and co-host Tony Robinson, who now resides in Canada. They eat something over there called poutine. Now it's chips, gravy, and like cheese curds on there. Is that something you try?
Yeah, I'll give that one a miss, please.
Yeah, me too. Sounds minging, doesn't it?
No, I'm not having that.
The only way you find that in the States is when you go to a hockey game.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I tried the Philly steaks and all that, but no, I don't think I'll try that one.
Excellent. Right, so
Darren, you've got some listener and some ex-player questions, don't you?
Yeah, well, it's there's a couple of questions from supporters. Maybe you've answered one of them already, really. Rob Russell, who usually asks the question on every show, he said, was the Doncaster the right move? Should you have held out for long at Stanley? So maybe, see the season through. Yeah,
like I said before, it probably would have been nice to see the season through. In hindsight, it probably was the wrong move. If I could have waited, maybe a league club come along. But then if I'd have waited, maybe nothing had happened and I would never have got my chance. Yeah, and so I'd rather do something and not have the regret of not doing it. Do you know what I mean? So, in hindsight, probably wrong move, but I had to go for it.
Yeah. Like I said, Jay Flannery, he was asking what was your favourite goal for Stanley. We touched on that first one, but are there any others that stick out in mind?
Sort of one that springs to mind, I don't know if it was my favourite, but I think against Workington, so his left foot, I'm going to say 30. I'm going to extend it by another 5. Into the top. No YouTube back then. Into the top corner of my left foot. So that's the one that I sort of just sprung to mind then. So I'm going to go for that one.
Rob Russell as well is asking about John Coleman and his approach to management and change from Ashton to Stanley. Did you see any notable notes between them?
Not really, no. I think it was just sort of the same manager, the same way. Obviously, he took a lot of players with him that knew him from Ashton, so they knew how he worked. Obviously, he trusted those players. To be fair to John, he was unlucky at Ashton. We just missed out on promotion. To go and sack him, now I don't know the ins and outs behind the scenes. Didn't seem the right decision when you just miss out. And maybe if they had stuck with him, they would have become more successful. But as it turned out, he went to Accrington and it was perfect for John and obviously getting promoted in that year. So it worked out well for him. So I didn't see a big change. I just think the success was coming. Ashton probably needed to give him another season. They didn't. And so Accrington took advantage.
Yeah, okay, thanks for that. And then just on another note, I have been speaking to a couple of ex-players who do pass on their regards. Paul Mullen, another Jonathan Smith, good players at that time and important players in the team, weren't they?
Yeah, I say good players. Paul, fantastic player, but fantastic lad as well. I don't think anyone can say a bad word against Paul. He's always there to speak to whenever you need him. I've not spoken to him for a long time. I just recently spoke to him a couple of months ago. So that was good, yeah. I've sort of lost touch with everyone. I don't know how Smith is doing, but yeah, another fantastic lad. And again, obviously a local lad, John from Burnley and Smithy from that area. So I guess they understood what Accrington meant sort of to the local people around there. And yeah, so that's why I really want to do well.
Yeah, we've had both of those guys on the show and they're both really good guests.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another one who we've had on the show was Jamie Spear, and he said, "Can you get him a move to Spain?" ever the joker, Jamie.
Yeah. Well, I've not spoken to him for a while, but he did actually come over to Spain. I think he comes on holiday to Alcazares. It's about an hour and 15 minutes away from me. Yeah, I think he fancies it out here, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Moving on, you played for a few other teams, didn't you?
Yeah, so I had a sort of a long spell at Chester, and then afterwards went to Lee and Altrincham, as you said. So Lee was my last club before I moved away. That was a very, very difficult season, hard season, because obviously we got relegated that year from the conference, from the National League, what it was. So that was a difficult season. But it was some good times as well. You know, you've got to take the rough with the smooth. And I enjoyed playing at that level and sort of playing against good players as well. So yeah, you take the rough with the smooth. It was unfortunate at the end that we got relegated, but that's the way it was in the end.
And then, like we were talking about earlier, that Jamie Spear was wanting to get the transfer down to Spain because that's where you're at now. Tell us a little bit about life in Spain. I think that you're the first guest that we've had on the show that had been living in Spain at the time.
Okay, yeah. So as I just mentioned there, my last season in England was playing for Lee, and then sort of last minute decision. I suppose you call it a last minute decision. Really, it was an impulsive decision that we came out to Spain to live after that season. Wanted to change. As I said, my experience in the States was fantastic, and it sort of broadened your horizons in thinking that there's more to the world than where you brought up. Yeah, I wanted to get out of Burnley and sort of see different places and experience different culture. Took the chance, me and my wife and our 6-month-old daughter at the time, who's now 14, to come to Spain, and we've never looked back, really. Some difficult times at the beginning, as anyone will say, when they move to a different country. But once you get past that, absolutely fantastic place to live for the kids, and it's been a fantastic experience for them. And so, yeah, it's been a fantastic move.
So did you already know how to speak Spanish when you moved there, or is that something you had to learn as you go?
Yeah. So I know I couldn't. Sort of a year before, we'd actually started going to Spanish lessons during the evening at college, well before we even planned of going to Spain. I had the odd phrase, sort of thing, but it's very different when you come out here, especially start playing football out here with the lads and you don't understand a word that they're saying. So yeah, that was very difficult. So it took me a while to pick up the language. But no, it was a good experience.
Yeah. So what's you're a PE teacher, I believe, Gary, aren't you? Is that your role?
Yeah. So now I'm teaching PE at a private British school in Alicante. So yeah, I'm teaching sort of kids from 3 years old all the way up to 14. So it's a wide spectrum of ages. So it's fantastic working with them. My kids go to that school as well, so it's good to see them growing up at the same time. You know, obviously, not a lot of parents get to see their kids in school and things like that, and get to see them growing up. So that's good, and they're having a fantastic time. They're having a good experience here. sort of, especially in the summer, sort of playing out. My 9-year-old kids playing out till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. So out in the swimming pool and things like that. So for them, as sort of getting to go outside and going to the pool and all that sort of things, it's an absolute fantastic experience for them, and it's not something that they would experience in England, unfortunately.
Well, Gary, it has been absolutely fantastic having you on the show here and hearing all about your career everywhere from Accrington to the U.S. and now Spain. But did you have anything that we hadn't asked about so far today that you wanted to make sure that we talked about before we wrapped up?
Not really. Basically, obviously being an ex-Accrington player and obviously sort of growing up in Burnley, sort of near Accrington, I'm just really glad to see Accrington where they are. I think it's fantastic. Sort of, I'm going to say this more so for, this is no disrespect for the fans that go there now, but more so for the fans that were there at the beginning, especially those that I think bought lifetime season tickets. They must be laughing at this moment in time. But yeah, I really feel happy for those supporters that were there at the beginning and what they're seeing now and where the club is. So I'm really happy that Accrington are in League One, and I look out for the results. And so I'm just really happy the way things are going for the club.
Darren, wasn't it Louis that was bragging about his lifetime season ticket?
It was. He certainly told us all about his season ticket. Lifetime ticket. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Is he the only one?
Yeah, at that age group, I think. Yeah, I must have wanted to spend it on more on better things at that time. I think if I got £1,000 in my pocket or whatever it was. Yeah. But
fantastic.
It's excellent. Like you said, there's a lot of characters who were involved around the club at that time who you still see, and it's good reward for.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people sort of volunteered and worked hard for the club, to see them through them times. So it's sort of more pleasing for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to me, reflecting 2 decades later, I just, I look at that 99-2000 team, and obviously, John and Jimmy and the players like yourself that came over from Ashton are kind of the foundation of everything that started what Accrington's at today. So I just, want to thank you for being such an important part of that important part of the club's history.
No, yeah. To be honest, it was a pleasure playing for that team at that time. I just remember at that time when we were playing, even if we went to go down, we always just looked at each other and thought, we're still going to go on and score goals, so we're not going to lose. So it was a great time at that club. Some fantastic players, fantastic lads. Obviously, if you speak to them, give them all my best, because obviously I've lost touch with them, but give them all my best. And yeah, it was just a pleasure to play in that team.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Gary, for joining us.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Gary, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, and we always like to finish up with an odd Stanley odd.